thanks Eileen for the introduction. Very good to see all of you here in this packed room, and really nice that you're here. I think that you will remember this session at least until you are traveling back home and checking in at the airports for people that are traveling by plane. And that is because I'm working for a company that develops baggage handling systems for airports. So whenever you start checking in your bag, you will definitely remember this presentation. And I would like to take you along our journey. We were facing a challenge. We use Confluence to solve that challenge, at least that is what we hope. And I would like to talk you through our results and mainly the lessons learned. So after this session, you'll walk away with lessons learned and tips that can help you in your own Confluence implementation. So who is already using Confluence? That's a lot. And who is planning to start using Confluence? Great, that's awesome. Well, let's have a look. And at the end of the session, there will be a little Dutch treat because we came from the Netherlands, so there is a Dutch candy when you go outside after the session. So Vanderlande is based 66 years ago, founded 66 years ago in the Netherlands, and at the moment it has about 3,500 employees based in 24 countries. And we have 3 areas where we're working in. The first one is baggage handling, so developing, installing and maintaining baggage handling systems at airports all around the world. Second area we work in, 3.2 billion bags per year, by the way. Second area we work in is warehouse automation. So if you buy something online, for example at Nike, it will pass one of our systems. And the third area we're working in is parcel and postal. Same like baggage, but then with parcels. 20 million bags per day, like 200 per second. So that's quite a lot. And if you look into our company culture, I think it looks a bit the same as the one that Atlassian has. And a few things are very important. First of all, the improvement and innovation minded. And we see that those two are very important to keep track of our competitors, to keep ahead of our competitors, and make sure that we are able to build the best solutions for our customers. So let's look into the challenge that we were facing. And it holds 4 aspects. And the first one is changes. There are so many changes. Technology is changing. We as a company are changing. Our competitors, customers have different demands. So how can we face all those changes and make sure that we know all the changes? Then internationalization. Where we used to be a Dutch company, we are now a global company with colleagues in 24 countries, with customers in over 100 countries. And how can we make sure that we can work together with all those colleagues and customers all around the world? Third is growth. We experience an enormous growth, 20% increase of new employees last year, and that is a lot and it's difficult to cope with. Small detail, do you see the bicycle at the end of the picture? Hey, we're a Dutch company. We like riding bicycles and we do that at our jobs as well, at the campus. And the fourth element of our challenge is that our colleagues are working in silos. You could see this as people in baggage handling, people in warehousing, people in parcel and postal, or people in the Netherlands, people in the US, people in Germany. We're very good in working in teams, but only within our small teams, and not in the teams across borders or across teams. So the central question was, how can we make sure that all our colleagues all over the world stay up to date and share their knowledge? That is the challenge that we were facing 2 years ago, more or less. And we decided to use Confluence to answer this challenge. And we decided not to call it Confluence, but we call it Wikipedia. It's our internal Wikipedia. And we decided to do this because we didn't want to launch a new software product, but we wanted to embed a new idea in the organization. We must share knowledge, and we must not implement a new tool. So that's why we call it Wikipedia. And during the launch, we handed out these sunglasses to everyone, our Wikipedia glass compared to Google Glass. And the story is we have a new way of finding our information within the company. So how did we do that? Let me take you through that. First, our goals. We had 3 goals. We wanted to have one source of information instead of all the scattered sources that we had all over the world, several wikis, several Lotus Notes databases, SharePoint. So one source of information. Second, it should be available worldwide to everyone, and it should increase team play. The last one is hard to measure, but still, it's a goal. And we approached the implementation by doing 3 things. And again, that is because we feel that it's not an IT project, but it's a change. It's a change project driven by business needs. So we had attention for technology, of course. We implemented Confluence. But besides that, we put a lot of effort in working towards an organization that supports knowledge sharing. So we have a champion, that was me, is me. We have moderators, you could see them as department champions. The IT organization that helps. So a lot of people around the implementation that helped in making this into a success. And third, a lot of attention for user adoption. How can we make sure that all people start loving it and start using it? So those topics we did all together. If we look at the timeline, we chose Confluence December 2013, so a while ago. And the major reasons to start with Confluence was the ease of use, it was the ease of implementation, and it was a very convincing story by one of the Atlassian partners in the Netherlands that really made us feel that Confluence would give us the best solution for our challenge. And then within half a year, we had our go-live moment with information mainly built for salespeople, but also used outside sales with engineers and with R&D. And after that, we started pulling other teams towards Confluence as well. And at the moment, we closed 2 old systems. The third one will close by the end of the year, and we are continuously monitoring the usage and the growth of the system. And when we started the implementation, we did something very important, and that was that we described an architecture. And the architecture had a few starting points that was very important. And the first one was trust. And this was a management decision set by the complete management board that if we want to share knowledge within the company, everything should be open. We shouldn't have silos, we shouldn't have people not being able to access certain parts. So all pages can be read by everyone, and all pages can be edited by everyone. This was quite a shock for some people, I can tell you. The second was ownership. I told you that we work towards an organization and we use moderators. And we use the moderators to make sure that we get content in the system, that the content is moderated, that it's up to date. And those moderators also encourage their colleagues in using Confluence and using Wikipedia. And that turned out to be very, very important. And this ownership should be in the business and should not be within IT. It's very important. And a third basic step that we decided on was that we wanted to have a clear dividance between corporate spaces and team spaces. And the corporate spaces you could look into as like the Bible. Everything you read there is true. It is moderated by the moderators, so you can count on that it's correct and that it's up to date. And there is a workflow in place to make sure that that happens. Where the team spaces, its main goal is to collaborate with people within your teams. So those were 3 important starting points for our Confluence architecture. with all the teams that we started to start using Confluence, we had the same way of working, where we had a joint kickoff to decide upon the goals, to decide upon a planning, and we would always end with a go-live moment that we would celebrate. And I strongly feel that you should celebrate successes, also the smallest ones. So also with smaller teams, we did have a moment of celebration. And it could be cake, it could be balloons, it could be champagne. It depended on the teams, but we made sure that everyone got attention for their go-live moment, and that helped in the user adoption. So let's look into the results. What you see here is our homepage of Confluence, of Wikipedia. And what we decided upon was that we would not use the default dashboard, but we created another homepage because we felt that it would increase user adoption. And it looked a little bit like our old intranet, so people would feel comfortable in using this. And in the center, you see the tiles to the most important information in the corporate spaces, like information about our processes, information about the market, about the competitors. And recently launched a new button, New at Vanderlande, to help people starting in the company to find information very fast. So this is one way to enter the information. The second way is the left-hand side, the tree structure, where you can find information based on the area you are working in. And of course, you can still use the search. There has been a lot of discussion around whether we should have this kind of structure or just have one big search box. And half of the companies said, we should have the search box. And the other half said, I miss out on structure. Can we improve that? So that's the struggle we're in continuously. We have a lot of unique users, about 95% of our total population. So I'm really, really happy with that. What we do see is that the people in the Netherlands are using it more often than people outside the Netherlands. So there's quite some missioning work for me to do to keep the other countries aligned as well and make sure that they start contributing to the system as well. We have almost 9,000 pages. I'm not sure if that's a lot, but we see a definite increase. We started with 1,800 pages about a year ago, and we're now at 9,000 pages, so people are contributing and putting effort on creating new pages. And some quotes from colleagues. For example, it's way more easy to onboard a new colleague. And this was very, very important because we have so many new colleagues starting that this is really one of the best results we could get. People not having to talk for hours with new employees, but they can send them out to Wikipedia, have them read stuff, and afterwards can come back with questions about what they have read. So that's really powerful. Then finally a place where we can share our thoughts and experiences. This guy came to me and he said, yeah, in the past I would have a PowerPoint presentation and some things in my email and some notes on my desk, and I would have a chat with a colleague, but I could not combine all that information on one place. And now I can put all that information in Confluence, I can ask colleagues to review it, etc., etc. So that makes it powerful for those users. And the last one, Wikipedia helps me to find information faster. And that was a win as well, because people are moaning all the time about, oh, it's so hard to find information, we have so many systems, and now we have one source and people can find the information in here. So, did we reach our goals? Well, the first one is one source. I think we did reach our goal almost. We closed down 2 older systems, a process modeling tool and Lotus Notes, which should be closed like 10 years ago, but we didn't do it yet, and people were still using it with outdated information. So that was a big success. And we're about to close our SharePoint intranet site before the end of the year with also outdated information. So we're using a better system, and we cleared a lot of old stuff, so that is quite good. Then the worldwide usage. Yes, it is available worldwide, but as I said, it's not used worldwide by everyone that much. So we definitely need to work on that. And team play, it is improving. And Confluence is not the holy grail. It's not that you implement Confluence and your team play will be there, but it definitely helps. And a nice example here was this guy working for baggage handling, and he wrote information about baggage screening to see if there are explosives in your bags. And he wrote about it. And a guy in the UK, he wrote about the same topic. And the Dutch guy, he came to me and he said, he is writing about my topic. He shouldn't do that, it's my topic. And I said, I don't know whether it's your topic, it's a company topic, and apparently you both know something about it. And they went to see each other, they talked with each other, and now they combined forces and they can be much more powerful because they can share their knowledge. So that is, for me, one of the best examples that we have at the moment. So did we reach our goals? Not completely, but I think that we are very far in reaching them and that we will get to them, yes. So what did we learn? Quite some things. And the first one is make sure that you have a proper foundation. We started with the architecture, and that really, really helped. It helped us in stopping discussions between departments saying, we want this, no, we want this. And I could say, we describe this in our architecture, and this is the way we're going forward. And I was supported by the management team in that. So if I didn't have enough power to say so, one of the managers could say, this is the choice we make, we'll go left. And then it would be left. So that really helped me. Second, the organization, working with the moderators, with key users, with IT support, definitely was key in making this into a success. And using the early adopters. We had quite a few people already using Confluence on a server underneath their desks. And we made them move their information into the corporate wiki, and we asked them to help promote Wikipedia within the company. And they were already a fan, so we could use them to promote this and be, how do you say that? Well, to promote this within the company. And then a luxurious position. Due to the challenges that we have, we didn't have a choice. We had to do something. So the option was not, are we going to share or are we not going to share? No, we must share. So we had momentum, and we had to take the moment, and that was very powerful. Closing down the old systems definitely works. People don't like it. People don't like it because they're used to going into a system, finding the information there, and now they must go to another system they're not used to, and they have to find the information there. But at the end, they would come and say, I like it. It's a good system. It's good that we closed the old system. So it takes a little while, but at the end, people are still happy. And this really helped as well, our CEO, who really helped us in making sure that this was going to be used. He mentioned Confluence, knowledge sharing within his management speeches. He helped us building a video in which he told the company that it's important and why people should be using it. He helped during taking decisions. So management support is definitely a must. And you can use the people from the bottom to get things done, like the early adopters, but you definitely need the people from the top as well. And then a few pitfalls. And one of the pitfalls was that there where we were not prepared and we did not think too good about things like the architecture, it gave us trouble. And a nice example is one of our spaces is about customer information, and there wasn't a moderator. And we said, nah, doesn't matter. Everyone knows something about our customers. They will write it down. It's not an issue. That space is currently a mess. No one feels responsible. There's not real up-to-date information. And it tells us that we should have planned it better on beforehand instead of letting it go. And something else, I expected that the young generation would like this right away. They are in like mobile applications, they are on Facebook and on LinkedIn and any other social platforms. And I thought they will embrace this right away. They didn't. So I didn't give them a lot of attention because I thought they would like it anyway, and I should have done. So I should have given them training as well, and I should have given them roles as a moderator, etc., etc. And then we started with Confluence because of the ease of use. And now when we're using it, it turns out that the search is not as easy as we thought. We need to help people in finding information, in using the right search keys, in making sure that titles of pages are correct such that the findability is bigger. We didn't expect that that would happen, but it does. So use that when you are starting your Confluence implementation and help people in advance instead of afterwards when they are already like dissatisfied because the search is difficult. And it isn't difficult, but you just need to know a few niches. Oh. Then a few surprises. And the first one was that some people turned around quite quickly. Some defenders were not a defender anymore after a few weeks. And a nice example is a guy who came to me and he said, can we disable those comments field underneath the pages? I don't want people to put comments there. They should use the official system to raise complaints and the official system to raise bugs, and they should not be using the comment fields. And I said, yeah, I don't know. I'm not so scared that this will happen. And if it will happen, if it turns out to be a problem, we'll look into a solution at that time. And after a few weeks, he got back to me, luckily, and he said, you know, those comments, they're pretty good. I get feedback from the organization that it didn't get before, so it really helps me. So he was turned around, so that was kind of a nice example. And I was also surprised by the speed at which we were able to accomplish things. And I think that has everything to do with the architecture that we defined, with the management support that we had, and a few great sponsors that made us do this in quite a short time. And for our company, in 6 months, having something live is quite fast, so that was quite a success. Okay, so now you've heard how we implemented Confluence and our lessons learned, our pitfalls. I'm quite curious, what are your keys to success, or what will be your keys to success? So please let me know. Contact me. My Twitter name is on the slide deck. And I'm curious, and we could talk about what your keys to success are. And I think that as long as you remember that it's not an ICT project, but that it is a change project, you will succeed. And then you will be able to celebrate, just like we did. We celebrated the 1 millionth view of Wikipedia to give it another moment and give the user adoption a chance again. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisette. We've got time for a couple of questions, so thanks to those of you who have been asking them in the app. The first question for, bless you. The first question for you is, how are you monitoring usage? Like, what tools are you using for that?
We're using a reporting plugin, and we use View Tracker. So we can see who uses certain pages a lot and which pages have not been used a lot. And we can see on a space level which pages are very popular and which pages are not.
So as a follow-up to that, actually, so how do you handle content that's become stale or has little usage? Do you archive, or kind of what's your strategy there?
Yeah, we have an archiving plugin in place, and it tells whether pages have not been read or have not been edited for a while. And what I do is twice a year I sit down with the moderators and I look at their statistics, and we decide, is it normal that pages are not being read, or should we take action? Is it normal that pages are not being edited, or should we remove them, or should we edit them? So together with the moderators we review the statistics and we go along.
Great, thanks. How do you standardize labels, or do you standardize labels, and if so, how do you enforce them?
We don't. No.
Simple enough. All right. How do you handle add-ons?
Well, in the architecture, we said that the rule is no plugin unless. So we don't want to use a lot of plugins because it's a lot of work when you want to upgrade and you need to test whether all the plugins work, etc. But I do see that plugins are growing because you find certain functionality that's not default, so you do start buying plugins, and yeah.
Great. Can you describe the approval workflow for corporate knowledge share?
Yeah, we use the workflow plugin by Komala. We have a simple workflow. A page can either be draft or under review or published. And whenever you make a change to a page, the page turns into draft, and you need to assign it to one of the moderators who will then republish the page.
Cool. So the next two questions are about your previous systems. So what were the original wikis, and how did you get people to give those up? And then if you could talk to the migration of content.
Okay. We had several sources. We had Lotus Notes, we had MediaWiki, and we had Confluence databases already. The Confluence people was easy. They just got the corporate one instead of their own one. The MediaWiki people, they wanted to go to Confluence because of the improved search functionality compared to MediaWiki. And for Lotus Notes, it wasn't a choice, it just had to be done. And the way we did it was mainly manually by having holiday people like students who helped us copy-pasting the content, because that turned out to be faster than using one of the migration tools and then correcting things afterwards.
Do you have any architectural tips or suggestions to streamline adoption and improve the desire to use Confluence?
I'm going to think about that one. I'll write it in the app.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks. So one or two more. Do you do regular trainings for your moderators or your space admins?
Yeah, for someone who turns into a moderator, we give him a one-on-one explanation on how to use Wikipedia, how to use Confluence. And for the regular users, we have the Wikipedia Essentials workshop, which is a 2-hour workshop where we walk them through searching, creating, and collaborating. And it's mostly people doing the work, and I am guiding them. But we do it in a workshop because when they are at their workplaces, they wouldn't do it, and in a training session, they would. So that's what we do. And I write blogs every now and then, like the 3 tips to improve your search results, and I post those.
Cool. So last question for you is, how do you avoid the duplication of content?
That is one of the difficult issues. We see that within the team spaces, people are more free to produce content, and they write down, for example, procedures in there, but they should be in one of the corporate spaces. And we're struggling a little bit with that. We now have a project running that should improve all the processes, and as soon as someone sees a process not in the corporate space, it is like marked, and we will talk to the owners of those pages to make sure that they are moved into the corporate ones. And the moderators have a role in that as well, but it is very difficult to manage.
Great, thank you so much, and Lisa will be here afterwards if you guys have some questions. And
sure.
So, thank you so much.